celebration, and he was saying that he was speaking at a convention at Fun in the Sun, and he just celebrated 3 years, and I was so excited for him, you know. But little did I know, the next day I would be speaking at the Georgia Regional Convention, and so I'm very excited. But at the same time, like I told Porter, I had a lot of fear, you know, and you know, it's funny because you know, my life was in such shambles. I was taught from the floor up that I was willing to come in here to do anything that y'all told me to help me become a better person, and that live this better way, live this new way of life. But then when it's time for me to really be honest, I get shy, you know, and but that's okay, because I'm gonna go ahead and just share my experience, strength and hope, and you know, where I am, and you know, just tell y'all what I think giving the newcomer a chance means. You know, I was thinking at first, I forgot what the topic was, and I was thinking, you know, just let the newcomer recover, you know. But in essence, when I look at it, it's really the same thing, you know, because, you know, I know that I have to come in here and I have to be honest, you know, and I have to tell y'all what's going on with me. Because if I'm not honest, first of all, with myself, that means I can't be honest with you. And if I don't tell y'all what's going on with me, whether good, bad, or indifferent, then y'all can't help me with whatever's going on. And so the only way for me to get help is, one, I have to run everything by my sponsor first. I don't share everything at meetings, because everything is not for the group or, you know, for everybody, you know. Some things are just to be shared with my sponsor, with that one person that I can put all my trust and faith in and my confidence in, and I ain't got to worry about anything that I share with her coming out somewhere else, you know. And I love my sponsor for that. Let me slow down a minute. Giving a newcomer a chance, like Porter was saying, you know, when I came in here, you know, I was willing to do anything. You know, my sponsor, you know, she stepped up early and she said, you know, we need to get involved with service. And she asked me, or she suggested that I get involved with service. And then she asked me, was I willing to do it? And I said, sure. So what I learned, that doing service not only helps other people in Narcotics Anonymous, but it also helps me. So I do it willingly at my area, in the South Atlanta area, and I enjoy it. You know, I have a commitment. You know, I have something to do now that other people want me to do. You know, they want me around, they want me to help, they want me to do things, and I'm like, they like me, you know. And this was a change for me, because I didn't like y'all, you know. I didn't like people, you know. And I didn't want no friends. I didn't come here to make friends. I came here to get some help, you know. And I really didn't have a clue what that meant. I just know that when I was first introduced to this program, through a program that I was in at the VA, when I was first introduced in like 2008, 2009, and they said, go to 3 meetings a week, you know. And so I just had to check the paper on my own and said, okay, I went to 3 meetings. But what I realized is I didn't learn anything at that point, because, you know, everything would go in one ear and come out the other. But after my life got so bad and my ass was on fire and I was taught from the floor up, I remembered Narcotics Anonymous, and I said, you know, I remember the rooms, they said they could help me, you know. So I came running back, and I remembered before that a lady had asked me, was I sick and tired of being sick and tired? And I said, I kind of hesitated and said, yeah, you know. But when I got to the end of my road, in my last run, I kept hearing the same lady's voice ask me, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know? Because I always thought that, you know, you don't let the drugs control you, you control the drugs, you know? And then I found out the more I wanted to stop, the more I couldn't stop. And so the only way I figured that, well, maybe I'll try and let them people help me, you know. And so the first thing I did is I came back to the meeting, and I peeked through the door, and I wanted to know, was that lady in there? And she was the first person that I saw. And so I went on into the meeting, and I was very, very excited, and I wanted the meeting to end, because I wanted to apologize to this lady and tell her that I lied to her face 5 years ago, you know, telling her I was tired, but today that I could tell her that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And thank God that lady today is my sponsor. So I'm glad that I was introduced to this program, and that, you know, no matter how bad I thought I was, when I came back, you know, they said, you know, give yourself a break. You know, don't beat yourself up. If you beat yourself up with a feather. And I'm like, huh? You know, and then I kept hearing all these cliches, the same cliches I heard before that was going in one ear, coming out the other. It was like, you know, get a sponsor, keep coming back, and don't use and keep coming back, you know. Join a home group, you know, work some, and I was hearing all this. I didn't remember the thing about the steps because I didn't get past the little initial things, you know. But I kept hearing those cliches, and they were still saying them when I got back, you know. But the one that actually stuck with me this time was just for the day, you know, because I was always bogged down. I didn't have a job, you know. I was semi-retired, but I was always busy. You know, I never had time to do what I needed to do, but I can help you fix anything. You know, I can help you get anything done. You know, I could bail you out, help you financially, but I couldn't help myself. You know, and I was in so much pain. There was so much degradation going on that, you know, I was just shameful to say what was going on. But the more I kept coming back, the more I learned that, you know, you got to put your faith in somebody, you know. And so right now, I'm finishing up step 3 with my sponsor, but I knew from step 1, because the first thing was, I didn't think I was an addict, you know. But then after I realized that I couldn't stop, I said, well, maybe it is the drugs, you know. So I had some kind of acceptance, you know. And then I was so tired, I just surrendered, you know. And then I came in here, you know, and you guys kept telling me, you know, even though I was high when I came, y'all said, keep coming back. And I said, now they know I was high, but they tell me to keep coming back. I say, who does that? And what did I do? I kept coming back anyway, you know, and eventually I came back clean, and the just for the day said, you ain't got to use just for the day. You know, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, today is the present, that's why they call it a gift. Or today is a gift, that's why whatever. Today's the present, that's why they call it a gift. And that took so much weight off of me because I didn't have to worry about nothing but today. And it was like amazing because it was like this burden, everything that was bogged down, this was lifted off my shoulder. And I felt light. And I said, you know, well, I must be in the right place because, you know, people are talking to me. They remember my name and, you know, they want me around. They want me to do stuff. And they say, it's good to see you. And I said, well, you know, maybe I like them today. You know, maybe I do like y'all today, and I'm grateful for that because now I know people I can trust. Now I know people I can take suggestions from, and I'll be the first to tell you I don't take suggestions from everybody because you know our 12 traditions tell us that we need to get out and visit various groups. You know, and I'm a meeting maker, and I get out and I go to various groups and I meet a lot of people. You know, and I befriended some. And like I said, I know who I can take suggestions from because I hear a lot of people talk. You know, they can talk recovery all day long. But then if I continue to watch them and go to these different meetings, they're not living the program. You know, and now that brings me to the point where, you know, you say give the newcomer a chance. You know, we're talking about getting 13 step. You know, I befriended a guy with some clean time. And I was so vulnerable that he would say things that just sounded like it just made sense. And, you know, and I just believed anything he told me. You know, first of all, he told me I wasn't a newcomer. And I said, well, my sponsor says that I am. And he was like, no, a newcomer just has one day. My sponsor said if I ain't did the 12 steps, I'm not a newcomer, you know. And then he said, well, we could just hang out. You know, I just called to see how you doing. And that went from being intimate, you know, so on and so forth. But I don't want a relationship. You know, because I only got 9 months clean. You got 27 years, you know. And I told my sponsor that I wouldn't get in a relationship, you know. But I let this person influence me, you know, anyway. And I got stuck between step 2 and step 3. Because when I was on step 3, I kept saying, let's hurry up and work step 3. And my sponsor said, well, slow down. Where you going? You ain't going nowhere. We gonna get to it, you know. And then I heard people in the meeting say a lot of people go over step 2 with a minimum of concern, you know, and I didn't know that. And so I said, well, let me go back and read step 2. And then I read that, and I was like, I do not remember reading that. So maybe I need to slow down, and go over this again. And then I finished it. And then it was the holidays, and it was time for me to start step 3. I'm just not finishing it like Tuesday, 2 days ago, because I was distracted, But I that's because I was vulnerable, and I let somebody influence me, even though I knew it was wrong, And my sponsor said, "You distracted." And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm good. I'm grown. I know what I'm doing, But the same reason that got me a permanent seat in this room, because I thought I knew some stuff, I still didn't know shit, And so I got stuck, And even though I had started step 3, when I got rid of this distraction like a week ago, I said, well, let me go and get back to my step work. And the first thing it says is a lot of people get stuck on this step. And I'm like, what? I don't remember reading that, And it's just ironic, because this program, when I really get serious, or the Just for the Day meditation, or I really need to share something, it's usually right where I am, So now I know today that I can't put my trust and faith in everybody. My trust and faith, I have to put my faith in my higher power. And most importantly, what I learned is that I got to get out the way, I got to move myself out of the way so I can let the God of my understanding work his miracles in me and let his light shine upon me. Because I didn't know I could move out the way, And I said, well, if I just take some of the suggestions, and just listen to what my sponsor tell me, she ain't going to tell me nothing wrong, then just maybe, my life will get a little better, And it's getting better. I mean, life has definitely showed up in the last year, but I was able to talk with my sponsor or some other people in my network and get to the other side clean, because I took some simple suggestions, and I didn't go use, because that was always my problem, my feelings get hurt, or, and I gotta, I want to feel better, so I go use some drugs or drink it up, but I don't have to do that today, because now I know that it's okay to feel, but I have to let the feeling just go through the feeling, And I appreciate this program, because you guys are teaching me how to learn, and I wouldn't have got it any other way. So I know that Narcotics Anonymous is the best place for me, and that I do have to constantly give myself a break. I know that I'm going to make mistakes, but a lot of people say, like, insanity. You do the same thing over and over, that's insanity, and get different results. I said, no, that's not what insanity is. Insanity is making the same mistakes over and over, get the same results. And see, that was the problem with me and men in relationships. I kept making that same mistake over and over and over. I didn't learn the lesson. But after this last week or so, I learned the lesson. I was like, okay, I ain't got to be hurt and crying and in pain no more, because learn the lesson. If you keep doing the same thing, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you get, and nothing's going to change. So if I want to make change today in my life, I got to do something different. And so that's where I am today. So I know that I got to move myself out the way. I got to let God help me in my thinking, because anytime I say I've been thinking, it's some problems, because I don't know how to think. I'll take a mountain and make a mole into a mountain into a molehill, whatever. I'm confused. Anyway, but I'm gonna keep coming back, because I would just take things to the extreme, And when I talked to my sponsor, she said, now how did you come to that conclusion? And she would just wheel me right back on in. And I'm grateful for her, because she's helping me become a lady, helping me become a better person. She's helping me live a better life, And most importantly, I don't have to beat myself up, or like y'all said, if I do it with a feather, and just keep coming back, Keep letting y'all know what's going on with me so y'all can help me live. And if I do that, keep going to meetings, continue, most importantly, to do my step work, because that's where the solutions are. The solutions is in the steps. And I noticed today, and I didn't qualify, but I have, today I have 468 days clean. That's 1 year, 3 months, and 12 days. And I'm going to get another day. So right now, thank you. Right now, I'm going to just ride this river of change, because change is inevitable. And I know I'm going to make some mistakes, but I ain't going to keep making the same mistakes. So I'm going to keep coming back. I love you guys. Thanks for letting me share.
All right. Thank you, Candace. Okay, our next speaker, Rodney W.
Thank you, Ford. I'm an addict. My name is Rodney.
Hey, Rodney.
Well, I'm going to qualify. I heard you say that. And Candace, I love you.
I love you too,
I am
Rodney.
so glad to see you.
Likewise.
Saturday I'll have 4.5 years.
Right. Long time.
But I'll tell you that 4.5 years is not enough. I realized it the other day, and I'll get into that in a minute. I have some stuff that I don't know anything except what this book and the other people in Narcotics Anonymous helped me learn from this book, which is the basic text. And, this is how I changed my attitude. This is how I live my life today. This is what gives me the hope to share with someone else that is a recovering addict. Out of Why Are We Here? It says, we reach a point in our lives that where we felt we were a lost cause. We had little worth. We had little worth to friends, family, or on the job. Many of us were unemployed and unemployable. Any form of success was frightening and unfamiliar. We didn't know what to do. As the feeling of self-loathing grew, we needed to use more and more to mask our feelings. We were sick and tired of pain and trouble. We were frightened and ran from fear. No matter how far we ran, we always carried fear with us. We were hopeless, useless, and lost. Failure had become our way of life, and self-esteem had no existence. Perhaps the most painful feeling of all was the desperation. Isolation and denial of our addiction kept us moving along this downhill path. Any hope of getting better disappeared. Helplessness, emptiness, and fear became our way of life. We were complete failures. Personality change was what we really needed. Change from self-destructive patterns of life became necessary. Also, when I came in, I didn't come into this program off of the street. I went into a treatment center, and I became more or less of a human, more like animalistic nature, and crawling around like an animal running into the woods to try to find something to eat to stay alive. And I chased drugs like that, and this program keeps me from doing that today. There's a couple things that I do want to talk about, because the most important person in any meeting is a newcomer. And for me, I want to, for what my definition of, I don't really have a definition of a newcomer, but as to transition from a newcomer to an old timer or just a member of Narcotics Anonymous, from my experience, I think that transition happens when that person realizes that it's not an I program, it's a we program. I don't know if that's correct, but it works for me. When I realize that I cannot do this by myself, and I have to have everybody else, and I need y'all to give me a chance, that's when it's very important to me, and that's my reasoning on that, and it's not wrong to me. You can draw your own conclusion on what you think. I have choices today. People in the program have helped me decide that I have choices, and I can make wrong decisions and I can make bad, good decisions. When I came in, there were some things that I had completely lost. And that was the physical, mental, and spiritual well-being of me. I remember when I got to treatment, I was terrified. You know, I didn't know what the hell was going on at all. And I went in through the check-in process. They went through all my crap and told me to go unpack it in my room, and I did. And after I did, I sat on my bed and I started crying like crazy. I'm like, how, at 42 years old, how did I get to that place? Where am I and why am I here? What's going on with me? You know, and I was just totally lost, and I had lost, tons of weight. My mental capacity was gone, and I had no spirituality at all. And it says in the basic text that the spiritual part of our disease is our total self-centeredness. It totally overtook me, and I work hard not to be the self-centered person that I was in active addiction, because the minute I do, y'all are screwed. I will take advantage of every one of you, and I won't hold anything back. And I don't like that. I don't like that for me, and I don't like that for you at all. I want to talk about a couple of the traditions, because for me, I think the traditions are very important. The steps are for me to work and to learn how to change my attitude and my way of life, and the traditions are for me when I'm in the meeting, when I'm in the group, to help me. And that's where the newcomer is. That's where, that's where my focus should be. And like I'm gonna talk about the first tradition, the third tradition, and the fifth tradition. The first tradition is our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on NA unity. Our common welfare should come first. I told you I had 4.5 years on this coming Saturday, all right? And that is not enough at all. I have been to many events clean where adult beverages are served, and there's all types of drug use, and I have been okay. And I can't tell you why. The other day I was at a celebration, and after the celebration I went out to dinner with the people, and this was a very scary experience for me, because there was a couple of the family members of the people that were not in the program, and they were having alcoholic beverages, and my expectation got me. My expectation that I was okay, that my common welfare was okay, got me. And I shared it with my sponsor and some other members, and they told me that you should have just got up and left. But when the disease of addiction sees something that I like drugs, and it's saying, hey, I'm right here, come and get me, I'm right here, I get numb. I go numb. I used to sit for hours and even some days waiting on dope. In a numb state, I'm not thinking of getting up and leaving. It's the last thing I'm thinking about. And I found myself in that position. And it has something to do with, giving Newcomer a chance, because at that point I felt I lost all chance. I felt like I was done. and I was scared to death. And, you know, that only reassures me that when I get into situations to where I can help somebody, and I have the ability to ask somebody to not do something that might harm a newcomer, I'm going to use the common welfare should come first bit. You know, and it says our personal recovery depends on NA unity. And unity to me is when I come into a meeting, if I come into a meeting and I have an old girlfriend or an old roommate or someone I use with that I really don't like anymore, whatever the case, when I come into a meeting and there's somebody in there that we do not get along, I have to be in unity with that person for the newcomer, because that brings the atmosphere of recovery, which is in the fifth tradition. But like, the practice of unity is love, and that is what this program is all about. I have found that out, that you people only want to love me to the best of your ability, and some of you really do it good, you know. You know, I try to do the same thing. Sometimes, you know, it just doesn't work, and you know, an addict goes back out. But I really try to do the best of my ability and love, and that means practice. You know, practicing unity gives me that. I know when I've made my first few meetings, you know, people would come up and hug me, and they would talk to me, and they'd give me their phone number, and they'd say, call me if you feel like using. You know, they did that because they love me. They know what it's like to want to use drugs and not feel like you have the choice to stop, you know. So, you know, they saw something in me that I had no idea was even present, you know, as a newcomer. You know, I have been able to see people come into this program looking like a complete 800-car train wreck, and, you know, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, be a absolute, just beautiful individual. Only because they got into this program and they worked it. They didn't just come into a 12-step program and not work the program. For me, that's a disaster. Why would I do that? Why would I cheat myself on coming into something that can ultimately save my life and change my attitude and change my way of life and give me so many things that are just like, I have my daughter. She's 15 years old. Her mother passed away 2.5 years ago from the disease of addiction. That's one of the hardest things that I have to deal with. She comes to me ever so often and, you know, talks to me about it. And of course I used with her mother, and her mother died from this disease. So it's like reinforcement of the pain that I can feel, especially if I go back out and use, the pain that I'm going to feel from that. Oh man, it's not even going to come close, you know, to what I'm feeling when I just sit and I talk to my daughter about things. Because I know if I go back out, it's a done deal, man. You know, I know that I got one more time going back out, and I've heard this many a times, and I really didn't understand it for a while. But I don't know if I have one more coming back in here and making this right, you know. So I'm not gonna give up that one last chance of going back out. I'm not doing that. I think I have joined the No Matter What Club, and I think I'm firmly in it. I really haven't stayed on this, and that's what happens, you know. I sit and when I'm asked to talk about something or whatever, I'll look and I'll say, okay, I'm gonna talk about this. I'm gonna talk about this, and I never follow that. I just can't, you know.
Well,
But that's not me, you know. What I'm talking to you about is not. I mean, it's about me, but it's my higher power that's just, you know, guiding me. But the third tradition is the desire. You know, the only requirement is the desire to be here. I know when I got clean, before I got clean, on my clean date, September 25th, well actually September 24th, September 25th was my clean date, but I asked my dad to help me. And I don't have a really good relationship with my dad, but I asked him to help me, and he got me clean for 5 days so I could get into a treatment center. And, you know, I had the desire to do something. I didn't even know what it was, but I had a desire that my life was done. It was completely unmanageable. I didn't know that, though. You know, being a newcomer and coming into the program of Narcotics Anonymous, by the way, when I got out of treatment, I went to a meeting within 24 hours. And I kept doing that nonstop. And I still, to this day, I go all over the place. And I share my experience, strength, and hope wherever I can. And I learn a lot from other addicts all over the place. My recovery is not the only recovery that is happening, but mine is my responsibility. You know, but I have a little conflict too, and you know, I'll talk to my sponsor about this, but you know, the third tradition is about we're equal here. We're all addicts and we're seeking recovery. And, you know, it's like, I don't want a newcomer to be labeled as a newcomer. Because I think it singles them out. But there is an importance to that, I guess. That because they're the most important. They're special because they have nothing. They have, like I said, the physical, the spiritual, and the mental, everything's depleted. They're needy. They have to have us. We have to be there for them. I say we because I think this is a we program. Y'all help me, and I try to help y'all. The fifth tradition says each group has but one primary purpose: to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. You know, I'm an addict, and I was suffering just the other day. You know, that doesn't necessarily make me a newcomer, but boy, it sure made me feel like I had nothing, just like a newcomer does when they come into these rooms. You know, they're lost. They're feeling, when they come into a meeting, they don't want to be hugged. I remember that. You know, I remember, I can see, you know, I was sitting next to a newcomer in a meeting just the other night, and he had the reading, We Do Recover. And he was anticipating, like, is it this time I'm going to have to read it? Is it this time? And I'm like, that's at the end. I could see his anticipation, his fear, because I didn't sit in a seat that had those readings. I didn't want a part of that. I was terrified, even reading them things in treatment, but that was closed. You know, I didn't, and being in public is different. You know, and I tried to reassure him and say, it's okay, dude. You're going to be fine. And sometimes that's all we can do is just tell him it's going to be okay. You're going to make it through it. Just go out to eat with us, and we'll help you stay clean until 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And then come back tomorrow, and we can do something different then. Carrying the message to the addict who still suffers is very important, because even if you're a newcomer or not a newcomer, and if you don't know what a newcomer is, you probably are a newcomer. Even if you do, you might still be a newcomer. And that's okay. That is perfectly fine. It's not up to me to decide that, So I think carrying a message to an addict, it says unparalleled. Like, you understand when I say that when drugs are in front of me and I want to use them, and I'll use them and I won't stop, you know why. You feel my pain. And that's what makes us part of this program, working together to keep each other from doing that. And, drugs are our addiction, but the problem is our addiction. We will use anything, people, places, and things. Drugs are just what made it fun for me. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed using drugs. I'm not going to lie, because the minute that I'll lie and I tell you something that's not true, I will get a resentment and I'll be out using. I don't know what else to say, but it's very important to me that the newcomer get every chance of sitting in a seat in any meeting, anywhere, and hearing a message that's going to save their life. Because it was done for me. Why shouldn't I have every respect to do it for the next addict? Anywhere. That's all I got. Thank you.